Hey, Rockstars, what's going on? SE Rocks here with the debut episode of the Hitlist. With yours truly, SE Rocks. I got a special guest on this episode, Mike Oreson, otherwise known as Evil Dirty Jacob Brawn on the independent wrestling scene. How's it going, brother?
Hey man, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Excited to have you on. Thanks for taking the time to join me.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a while since I've done a podcast or anything.
Yeah, you're my second interview. I did the Minions the first time, but not for this segment. You're the first on this segment, so
Nice.
I'm super excited. So, how are things going right now, man? Things are pretty crazy in the world. How you doing?
Just trying to stay in, stay home, stay safe, doing what we can to not spread germs and all that good stuff. So,
Right, things we were taught when we were kids anyway, but
you
now
would
it's like
think, right?
tenfold. Yeah. So, are you working right now then?
Yeah, I'm working from home, so
Okay, nice.
it's
That's
not
always a
too bad.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. You enjoying that, or are you kind of antsy to get back?
I'm antsy to like see people. I'm more sociable. I don't mind working from home, but I would much rather be able to like get up and go talk to someone if I needed to rather than
Right.
trying to like message them and wait for them to respond.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, being stuck at home is it's not fun right now. Like it's fine. I'm antisocial. So you just said you were social. I'm the opposite. So
Right.
it doesn't really bother me too much. Just this, it's been like 2 months now. So now I'm kind of like, all right, I'm missing the few people that I kind of want to see.
Right.
So everybody, well, most of the people that'll be listening to this podcast know you as Jacob Braun from IWE and the other organizations in Michigan, and you've actually ventured outside Michigan a little bit lately, haven't you?
Yeah, mostly Michigan and Indiana. Um,
Okay.
I mean, I've wrestled in Ohio and Missouri and Illinois, um, North Carolina,
Oh wow, cool.
but yeah, mostly just Michigan and Indiana before
Right.
everything, shut down.
Yeah, that shut everything down. So what year did you start? How long have you been in the business?
Actually, April 28th was my 8-year anniversary in the business.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Who did you start with? Like, who did you train with?
So we
Oh
had
boy.
started, I know, right? So of course everyone, was a backyard wrestler.
Yep.
And then we found these guys who had a ring. It was still in the backyard, so like it was still, you know, backyard, but we had a ring. And
Hmm.
then this other place we found had a ring and a building, but we called it like backyard in a building because like no one was really trained at the time still and
Right.
stuff. So we were there. And then they ended up bringing in Briar Wellington to train people. This happened at two different places, so if either of them hear this, they're gonna shit all over me, or something. But
Right. Of course.
you know, but so like the second place had brought in Briar to train people, and I had actually did some training with him then, and he gave me his blessing to go about, getting
Hmm.
bookings and whatnot. And this one promoter had been at a few of the shows that we were doing, and he liked my stuff, and he ran a show and booked me and paid me, and that's what I considered my professional debut.
How long before you had that debut? Like since you the backyard into the
Oh man,
debut.
I mean, I was in a backyard since I was like 14, and then I was in a ring at like 17 or 18. But then
Okay.
that I was, what am I now, 29? So 21 when I
Shit, you're
had
still a
my,
young grasshopper, man. 29?
I guess. I mean, I feel old sometimes,
Right?
but
So how do you feel about you're saying backyard? What do you think about the stigma that some people have for backyard? Because most people honestly start in the backyard.
it's really funny when you first get into the business, you're like, people are always like, don't say you were in the backyard, like people frown
Yep.
upon that, like, and you're supposed to like cover it up. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if it was like the business as a whole kind of realized most of us started in a backyard, or
Right.
one day one person was like, fuck it. I used to be a yard tard. Who cares? And
Right.
like then everyone was like, "Oh, hey, me too, me too." Like so I
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah, it was kind of funny because like when I first started, everyone was like hush hush about it, and then
Right.
like within the past like couple of years, I've noticed everyone's just like, ah, whatever, I did it too. Who gives a shit?
Right. Yes, it seems like they've really been lacting on the the old school feel of things. Like the things that used to be taboo, they kind of it's like, well, that's how things used to be. That's not how they are anymore.
I mean, as long as you went from a backyard to getting trained, and
Right.
then started getting
Yeah.
bookings on show. I know a few guys who like weaseled their way onto shows and they like had never been trained. They were just backyarders and they ended up getting the shit kicked out of them because the
Right.
guy they were in the ring with realized it real fast and ended up beating him up. So,
Right. Yeah, there's a fine line between, I guess not even a fine line, but yeah, you have to be trained. I mean, don't say you know what you're doing if you're gonna step between the ropes and then have not a clue.
right.
So you're 29, 8 years ago. So 21ish is when you.
Yeah, I was 21 when I debuted.
Do you remember who you worked?
It was actually a four-way against this guy called Devil Dog. He was a little bit older. I don't know if he's done anything since or at all, or if it was just like a spot off for him, whatever.
Right.
And then the other guy was Gemini, who still wrestles. He's Nick Moss. He's in the Detroit area.
Mm-hmm.
He's or Indiana. He's been jumping around too. And Sweet Willie Watts, who is a Detroit known.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a four-way against them. So
Did you go over?
no, hell no.
No. Right.
Going over, I never did that like for 2 or 3 years.
Right. And you didn't just quit. You didn't say fuck this. I'm not getting a win.
No, man, I just wanted to wrestle and
Right.
and I was getting paid on top of it. Like, yeah, I wasn't gonna complain at all.
Right. When you trained, did you like have to sign a contract for your schooling, or was it just like a like a on basis type thing? Like one day you train, it's $50, or like how did that work out for you?
It was more of the latter.
Okay.
Breyer would come in for sessions and whatnot, and people would pay like per session to train with him and such.
Okay. Because I know when I initially wanted to take step in a ring, the guy that, I'm not going to drop any names, but he's pretty well known here in Michigan. But he was charging, I think, like $1,200 for, I want to say it was 2 years, and I was going through a divorce and stuff, so I didn't have the cash. So that's kind of
Mm,
where my dream kind of got shattered because of just the cost was like insane to me. So like yeah, a pay per play basis probably was
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Like when I was 18, I had moved to Louisville, Kentucky with my buddy Mitch Johnson, and we were going to go to OVW's
Oh,
school.
nice.
And we had moved down there, and like, so we went there when Lesnar was
Oh
there
shit.
doing a signing because he had just won the UFC title, so he was doing a meet and greet.
Right.
So we went down there and stayed the weekend and talked to him for a bit and checked out the school. And I'll have to find the picture and show you because he is so fucking massive.
Yeah.
And plus, like I was like 120 pounds maybe
Right.
soaking wet. Like I was way skinnier than I am now. And so he just like looked like he was gonna engulf me. But he was cool and talked to us about the school and stuff. And so we like a few months later we moved down there. And in those few months they had raised their prices. And so I was never able to afford it.
Oh no.
I never got to I couldn't manage to save up that extra money to
Right.
go. So I lived down there for a year fucking around and then I ended up moving back home and started yard tarding in a building and
Right.
stuff.
Did you move down there for the sole purpose of trying to train at OVW?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
absolutely. That was the one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bummer. That's like a frustrating thing to happen.
I mean, I was 18, 19. I was young. I
Right.
like it sucked, but at the same time, I at least gave it a shot.
Right, for sure.
So,
Cool. So do you have any amateur wrestling? I know a lot of guys say, a good foothold to begin is an amateur wrestling background. Do you have any of that?
I have none.
None, really. That's surprising to
Um,
me.
oh, well, thanks. That my a lot of people like in middle school and high school wanted me to join wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
especially because like I weighed so little that
Right.
they were like, "Yeah, you'll get medals and not even wrestle and
Yeah,
stuff. Like it'll
right.
be great." And I was like too shy and awkward,
Yeah.
which yeah, I know big bad Jacob Brawn used to be very shy and awkward as a kid, man. Like
Right.
wrestling like is what brought out my people skills.
Right. Yeah, that kind of leads into this next thing too. How does your character Jacob Braun draw from like your real personality?
Um, I mean, I get like babyface Jacob Braun is just me because
Right.
like I don't like especially like with the evil dirty character there's no like gimmick behind it,
Right.
so like babyface Jacob Braun is literally just me. And
Nice.
like I start off a promo like how we started this off and I'm like, what's up guys, what's up man, like just fucking loser white boy, um,
Right.
nerdy white boy, you know.
Uh-huh.
Heel Jacob Braun is just my like silly obnoxiousness with a splash of dickhead.
Nice. Just a splash.
I mean, a good pour, but
Yeah, they
because
so
like I'll always mess around and flex and talk about how strong I am just in jest and stuff. But yeah,
right.
then like Jacob Braun, like that's what he lives and breathes by.
Yeah, it dials it up to 10. You take that aspect
Right.
and dial it up. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely got it over, man. It's honestly one of my favorite gimmicks to have called matches and to see in person. Like before I was a part of IWE, I was a fan of IWE, and I would go to shows, and I watched you grow. Um, Not just in stature, you were pretty skinny the first. I don't know. God, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I think was probably one of the first shows I seen,
Oh wow.
and to see you grow, size and gimmick and personality, it was a feat, man. It's something to be able to come from, because when I remember the first time I seen you, you kind of, you look like you kind of felt awkward there, and now it's just, you're living it. So
Thanks, man. Was I Jacob Mercury the first time you
yes, you were.
came?
I was just gonna ask about that too.
Shit.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about your past gimmicks. Where did you get Jacob Mercury at?
All right. So when I started the business, when I was doing the stuff before like professional, I had like a surfer gimmick. And so
Okay.
like I would bleach my hair, I'd wrestle in swim trunks,
Oh
and
no.
I would tape my feet up. And like so I wouldn't wrestle in like shooters or boots or anything and
Uh-huh.
just barefoot. And then the Jay Walker who had originally booked me for my first show was like, I think you should do a Muay Thai character. Like you've got the build for it, like the way you move and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And it worked out decently
Hmm.
because when I was living in Kentucky, I ended up training in MMA while I was down there. So I ended up doing Muay Thai and boxing and jiu-jitsu. So I was like, okay, like that I can, work with that and intertwine that into the character and everything.
Hmm.
And so I did that for a while, and then um, this is going to be way stretched over out here,
No, that's fine, man.
overstretched. Um, so then I there's a picture of me that got posted um, from a show, and I had the Muay Thai trunks, the armbands, the headband, like I went balls to the walls with it.
Hmm.
And this guy comments on it, and he says, "What the fuck is this?" And it starts a like 300 comment thread of people like bashing on me, and a few people had my back, I guess.
Right.
Um, and just a bunch of people just burying the shit out of me. And so, funny enough, at that same time, I had just talked to Steve Wilson, Congo Kong, about making me new gear because I was getting ready to switch over to the mustache gimmick.
Mm.
And so Steve had messaged me and was like, "Hey man, like I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff that people are saying. If I were you, I wouldn't read it. If you do, certainly just don't comment. Just
Mm.
ignore it. Also, if you want, come down and train with me. I run this school out of Fort Wayne. You're more than welcome to come down." And so that was 6 years ago, actually. It popped up on my time hop, funny enough.
Nice.
Um, so 2 years into the business, I get buried in Michigan and almost like blackballed.
Oh
And so I
wow.
go down to Indiana, and Steve takes me under his wing, and I start driving down there once a week or twice a week, whatever it was, to train with him. And then we would like I'd drive him to shows and stuff, and we would train before shows and everything. So that's like where I got the ball rolling again.
Hmm.
And so I was doing Jacob Braun still, and I had this obnoxious mustache gimmick. Um, and John and Dennis had just started IWE, and I missed the first show. But then the very second show, John was like, "Yeah, I want to use." Like I talked to John, and he said he had a good idea and wanted to use me, but wouldn't tell me what it was.
Oh no.
And so I get there, and he's like, "You're gonna be Jacob Mercury, and you're gonna sing yourself to the ring, and da da da, this and that." And I was like,
Right.
and kind of sounded terrible. I was like, fine. And he told me afterwards, like way well time afterwards, was like, "I never told you what it was because I was afraid you were gonna cancel and never come to IWE."
Right. Oh
So
no.
I get there, and John lays the gimmick on me. So I'm Jacob Mercury, and like he essentially like put the gimmick in my hands to do whatever I wanted with it as long as like I got the point over.
Hmm.
And so that's when I started like I sang my way out. I started singing like during the match, whether I was beating someone up or had them in a sleeper hold or whatever. Like I would just sing whenever I could, and he just loved it, and it got over, and
Right.
so we rolled with it for a while, and then I just like I knew like when time was up though.
Yeah, it had ran its course.
Yeah, like the mustache itself had ran its course, and luckily enough, things lined up right where I missed an IWE show because I was getting my mustache shaved off in Indiana on another show,
Nice.
and so I got to come back as a baby face, and so it was me, Jack Price, Ben Brody, and Apocalypse in a four-way for the belt. And it came down to me and Apocalypse, and he gave me a pop-up power bomb, and I got so high up, and I got a concussion when I
Oh shit.
smacked the mat. Instant concussion. He pins me 1, 2, 3. He's the champ, and that like alone face turned me.
Right.
But then I missed the next show because I was in Indiana losing my mustache. And then I came back the next month and I cut this promo about how I was changed and like Mark had really given me a concussion and messed me up, and like I was able to like milk it out and make it into a great babyface thing for a bit
Right.
until I kicked Ben in the dick. But.
Right. So you were kind of like the precursor to the Aiden English gimmick in WWE then.
I don't know. Like I heard like he was doing it the same time I was. I'm not
Oh, okay.
sure. Maybe I like had him beat on a smaller scale. I'm not sure.
Right.
But that guy's got some chops on him, and
Yeah.
I was singing terribly. So,
Right. So how long have you been a member of IWE?
since the second show,
Okay.
so as long as it's been around, basically, which is what, over 4 years now? 4, 5,
Five-ish probably, I
5
think. Yeah, I'm
years?
not
Yeah.
sure. Because I know they started in Mount Pleasant and then moved to
Right at
Fulton Lake.
yeah, we were at a little TV studio.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 5 years now.
Yeah, it's around there. Where's your other favorite place to work?
Um, I mean, not to be biased or anything, but um, FNX Wrestling had their first show last September, and it was greatly ran by a ginger who I happened to tag with, Mark Vandy.
Oh,
So, that was a lot of fun.
right.
Um, I mean, I generally enjoy everywhere I go. Like, I think especially at this point, like if I go somewhere and I don't have fun, then
Hmm.
I'm just not gonna go back.
Right, right, for sure.
So like when I go to FWF in Warsaw, Indiana, or New Wave Pro down in Terre Haute, Indiana, or New Era Wrestling in Shelbyville, Indiana,
Hmm.
um, I have a good time at all of them. I get to see people that I want to see. I generally have good matches with people.
Right.
I have a lot of fun and free reign to do whatever.
Awesome. Uh, Kind of backtracking a little bit. Where do you draw your style from? Is there somebody from your childhood that you kind of seen and you wanted to, you know, portray that style?
It's weird because like I've always like Chris Benoit was my favorite wrestler,
Okay.
despite everything that he had
Yeah.
did. Unfortunately, like growing up, that was my dude. He was my favorite wrestler. I was a big fan of the Radicals when they debuted in WWE
Hmm.
or F at the time, whatever. Um, I always liked the smaller guys like Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko, Benoit, Kurt Angle, even. But then I watch myself wrestle, and I feel like I don't wrestle like them at all.
Right.
Like, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, oh man, like that guy was so good. He was so great. And then I just go out there, and it's nothing like that at all.
Right. Right. So like they inspired you maybe to become a professional wrestler, but not really
Yeah, I
your
would say
style.
that.
Okay. Cool. Who was your favorite wrestler growing up? Like the age difference is really showing here because I'm like late '80s, early '90s, and you're like saying Benoit and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Benoit was my guy for sure. I like Stone Cold.
Right.
I like Benoit was my favorite just because of like his tenacity and
Yeah.
his like grit. Obviously Stone Cold was a badass because he was flipping everyone off and beating
Right.
up his boss. Like,
Yeah.
how cool is that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have a favorite match from like Benoit or Jericho?
Benoit versus Angle, the cage match is a really good one where they do the moonsault off the top of the
Oh yeah,
cage.
yeah.
Um, Triple threat at WrestleMania 20. Benoit, Michaels, Triple H
Hmm.
is a fantastic match. Any Benoit versus Eddie matches are always great to watch. There was one I was just talking about it with John yesterday because we had went up to see Laura. Karen wanted to go see Laura, so
Hmm.
we went up there. And there was a match. It was Benoit's return after he was injured, and it was him versus Regal.
Oh, nice.
And Regal gets busted open like right away
Right.
from like a headbutt or something, and then Benoit's chopping him, and he chops him in the forehead, like
Oh
right where
shit.
he's bleeding, just whack. And I just laughed my ass off. I was like, "That's amazing."
Right. Yeah, some of that old stuff they would do cracks me up too, because
Hmm.
they were like ribbing each other, like maybe it was a missed spot, but like it just seems like something they would do. I'm gonna chop you
Oh
in the
yeah.
forehead where you're gushing blood. Speaking of Benoit, did you watch the Dark Side of the Ring on him?
No, I'm terrified to.
Oh shit, really? You haven't?
No, I'm
Oh no.
scared to because I'll probably cry like a big
Oh,
baby.
dude, I did. I legit couldn't watch the first. I had to stop like three-quarters of the way through the first like episode or whatever because it was just fucking wow, man.
Oh.
It was, and then the end. Like I kind of hated Jericho during it. He plays his fucking part so good. Like even on TV shows, man, he can fucking work you. Because he was kind of coming off smug. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but he was kind of coming across smug. But
Sure.
the like final 5 minutes of the actual episode, he had me fucking crying because he fucking just
Oh
made
man.
himself amazing again. But I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's worth a cry,
No.
man. It's worth a cry.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Just seeing Jericho and Guerrero, Chavo, obviously, talking about everything, talking about Eddie, talking about Benoit, talking about Nancy. It was tough to sit through for sure, but I definitely recommend it. So
Yeah.
you recently changed your merch sales. Speaking of merch, I'm wearing my Evil Dirty Jacob Braun shirt right now. You can pick it up at Pro Wrestling Tees. Perfect,
Hell yeah,
perfect
brother.
flex. Yeah. So have you seen like a change in your merch sales since you switched over? Like, are you making any more money, any less money?
Um, well, so this new gimmick, of course, I'm a big power lifter. I flex all the time, like the old Carney strongman and stuff. And I was working a show down in Indiana, and one of the guys, Donnie Tsunami, great dude, he saw my trading cards that I had, and they're like vintaged over kind of to look old school. And he looked at it and he's like, man, like this is really cool. He's like, he's like, I'm gonna reach out to oldie wrestling and, like see if they'll book you. I like your stuff. I think you'd fit in great there. Like this made me think of it. So I was like, well, shit. Okay, like oldie wrestling, like I've followed their stuff for a while. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. I'd love to be a part of it. But they do a lot of like old-timey gimmicks and stuff,
Right.
to fit the name. And so like I was trying to like think of what I could do there and with the vintage and the flexing and stuff, and it just like clicked. And I was like, "Oh man, like I'll just be a fucking strong man."
Right.
Like if anything is me times 10,
Right.
like it would be that. Like
Uh.
that's bread and butter. And so like I already have a strongman tattoo on my thigh.
Mm.
And so I hit up Steve to because he makes all my gear, and I was like, I need this gear. Like I sent him the picture. I was like, this is a singlet I want. Like this is what I'm gonna do. This is my idea. And I hadn't even like talked to Oldie Wrestling yet about working there. I was like, this is it. Like I'm just
Right.
gonna change up my whole lifestyle. Like this is
Right.
this is who I am now. Sorry,
Right.
world. Um, and so then Steve made me the singlet. I ordered the boots to go with it. And like I talked to Oldie Wrestling, they liked my stuff. I was gonna be booked on the show in Detroit in March, and then everything shut down.
Right.
So I did the gimmick at IWE in February on Leap Year for Fat Tony's last match.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do it there, and then yeah, the whole world closed. So like
Right.
I can't say if there would be a difference in my merch sales or not.
Okay.
I got a new shirt. I just put it up on Pro Wrestling Tees not too long ago.
Nice.
That's got the strongman logo. It's Jacob Braun's Beefy Boy Gymnasium.
Oh, nice. I do like that new look too, man. I like that new gear, that red and white gimmick.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's old school. It gives you that old carnival feel. So yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And like you
I
said, it's
wrestled.
it's you turned up to 10, man.
Right. So I wrestled. That was the first time I've ever wrestled in boots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've always worn like I was always barefoot with the Muay Thai gimmick, or I've always worn shooters. And
Mm-hmm.
so this was my first time wrestling in boots. Um, Not wearing knee pads,
Oh, wow.
like just asking for it. But no, it
Right.
turned out okay. But yeah, wrestling in boots like wasn't as terrifying as I thought it was gonna be. So that was cool.
Nice. I guess that's something I never really look at is like what's on a worker's feet. So I wouldn't even have noticed what you had on and what changed. I did notice there was
Right.
no knee pads though. That's something that sticks out is when a guy doesn't wear knee pads.
Yeah, I was excited for that.
I can imagine.
Like scared for my knees, but excited at the same time because I was like, I'm gonna look so cool.
Right. Yeah, that kind of leads into the next thing too. Your weightlifting and your like motivation to keep pushing through that. Like, what made you? You don't consider yourself a power lifter, do you? Like, what do you consider yourself?
I would say more, it vary. Like, I'll go through a period where I like train mostly powerlifting for strength, and then like I'll do that for 12 weeks, and then I'll go into like a mix of bodybuilding and powerlifting to like maintain strength, but work on like minor muscles and toning and stuff as well.
Okay.
So I would say overall more of a power lifter, but
Okay, what's your motivation? Like when did you, start getting into it heavy and, just hammering the weights?
um I'm super egotistical and I love being able to lift like big ass numbers
Okay.
and check myself out in all the mirrors in the gym.
Nice.
So,
Honesty. I love it.
yeah, like being able to be like, yeah, I weigh, you know, I don't actually weigh 273 pounds, despite what Clint Williams may say.
Right.
Um, but to be a buck 70 and to be like, yeah, I just squatted, 300 or I just deadlifted 450, like shit like that. Like
Right.
that's my motivation.
So your motivation is to be able to say you're picking up heavy numbers?
Yeah.
What got you there though? Like what made you want to just, get get to the point where you can say, was that just it? Is you wanted to be able to say, I'm jacked and I can lift this? Was that the initial motivation?
Yeah, for a while it was for a while I had heard a saying for wrestlers that was you don't have to be strong, you just have to look strong.
Right.
And for a while, like I was like, yeah, you just have to look strong. So I was training more for like bodybuilding and like sculpting my body and whatnot. And then I saw other people who did not look strong putting up more numbers than me,
Okay.
and it like upset me a little bit.
Okay.
And so then that kind of like it might sound kind of shitty. It doesn't mean I'm not meaning it to be shitty at all.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like I felt like what good is like my,
Right.
borderline Greek god body if I can't fucking bench,
Right.
So so then I started training more for powerlifting and I fell in love with it and it was just a lot of fun. It was very challenging
Okay.
to like push yourself to like follow a program and they're like, for the program to say do this much weight or do this percentage of your max, like, and you're like, all right, I want to follow the program, and it sucks ass some days, but you just challenge yourself and you push through it, and then as you do that, you get stronger.
Right. So you'd say you're a competitive person, like competitive with yourself inside your
Oh,
mind.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always competitive.
Yeah. That comes with wrestling. Wins and losses matter.
Yeah, that's right.
If you had to like try to get somebody else motivated who, because I'm not, I'm motivated to do cardio, like I like to
Hmm.
run, which I never used to do, but as far as like lifting, I'll lift for a month and then I'm just done because I don't see changes, but I also don't put in the time, I guess. I'm not, I
Right.
don't have a reason to look jacked like you do. Like I don't got to go out there and, so I don't really have any motivation. So what would you do,
I mean, I tell people to do it for themselves.
okay.
Like my biggest thing is doing it for myself. Sure, like I'll post my lifts on Instagram and stuff and be like, yeah, like this is how much I put up today. But like it's more so for me
Mhm.
than like as I guess that's selfish a little bit, but it's more so for me so I can like keep track of myself and say, hey, like I'm doing this, like you're doing this, keep going.
Right.
And that ends up inspiring other people
Yeah.
and they're like, "Man, like you're so committed. You lift all the time. Like I'm gonna get committed. I'm gonna lift all the time too. Like or whatever goal they have. Like they see my commitment and they, commit to whatever they want to do. And that's awesome. Like I'm all for that. It doesn't have to be weightlifting, like if you want to play guitar every day, do that. Like, or
Right.
if you want to read a book every day, or yeah, it's like anything, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm all for that.
Yes. Set a goal and try to stick to it.
Yeah, like, so if you were like, well, like you said, you want, like, not that you want to get into weightlifting, but you do it and then you lose interest really fast.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happens overnight.
Right.
Like you can't, and as they say in Adventure Time, the first step to being sort of good at something is sucking at it first.
Is that
For
what they
that
say? Because
context.
I don't. I don't. I
Jake
don't
says
know.
it. Jake the dog says it. It's not
Okay.
that exact wording, but
Paraphrasing.
yeah. but he does say you have to suck at it first.
Okay.
So,
Right.
yeah, man, you just have to be stubborn and stick to it.
Right. Yeah. Stubborn something I'm good at, but sticking to things isn't in my repertoire. So I wanted to touch on the Fox Sports segment that you were in. What was it? A year ago? 2 years ago now?
About 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. Freaking
I
flies.
know, fucking A. I know. I saw that you liked it. What, yesterday or something? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, he's creeping. He's doing homework.
To be honest with you, I wasn't sure how to pronounce your name, and that's the only thing I could find. I'm
My
like, I'm like,
God.
man, I don't want to butcher his fucking name, so I went and found it, and then I liked it. Just shooting straight, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But then I watched it again, and I was like, I'll put it in the segment. So yeah, how did that come about?
So, one of the guys I used to wrestle with in the backyard when we were kids, before like the ring or anything. Oh, I guess part of the ring too. But he works for Fox Sports now. And he does like camera work and whatnot. And Kyle, who does the away from the spotlight segment, is a huge wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so my buddy Mike had just like he hit me up and was like, "Hey, like the guy who works here loves wrestling. This is what he wants to do. Are you interested?" And I was like, does a bear shit in the woods?" Yeah,
Right.
like so he put us in touch and then we talked on the phone for a little bit and then next thing I knew, we met at the gym and started filming at the gym and then he came to we did like a day or two at the gym. And then he came to IWE, he drove all the way up to Houghton Lake
Mm-hmm.
and ended up being there for the best match in IWE history. Just
Was
saying.
was that the day that of that match?
Yeah, the day I dropped the belt to Brody, he was
Okay.
there for
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Nice.
So he got to see, yeah.
The day to fucking be there for sure. That was
Yeah, right. Holy shit.
phenomenal. So did you feel you got more exposure from that? I mean, did you get any like extra likes on Facebook, anything like that?
I think a little bit. A lot of people would like text me when they were at the bar, like for a few weeks afterwards. Like they'd be like, "Holy shit! Like you're on TV!" Like
Right.
and like so they would text me about it. I'm sure they were like talking to their friends about it. Like
Yeah.
so I don't know if it went any further than word of mouth.
Right.
Um, like my mom texted me one night and she's like, "I'm at the bar. You're on TV. Oh my God!" I was like, "That's so cool."
Right.
But it's never played on the TV while I'm at the bar.
Oh, really?
I've never seen it like on the TV at the bar, but apparently everyone else has,
Nice.
and it makes me so sad. But like the Cartiers were down in Indiana for a show, like right after it had aired, and I guess like it had hit the Indiana area as well, like northern Indiana,
Oh, really?
and they were like, "Oh, like Rick, like we saw you for like half a second in this fucking thing. Like
Right.
your boy was on it. Like that was cool as shit." And so I was like, "Rick, tell them motherfuckers to book me. Like exposure."
Right. Like I'm on TV, man. Fucking hook it
Right,
up.
like and then they never did.
Oh,
So, wrestling.
yeah, wrestling. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, man. Like, you see somebody
Thanks,
that
man. It was a
you're
lot
there
of
with.
fun. It
Yeah.
was yeah.
I was in there for like a split second too. I think that was actually it was either my first show working music maybe or something. But I know,
Okay.
yeah, me and Lil Dre were in the back locker room area. So we're like in there for a split second. So,
Nice.
yeah. It's not about me though, it's about Jacob Brawn.
That's right.
Yeah. So, do you have any like future goals? Like, do you want to go to WWE? Do you want to go to ROH, Impact, New Japan? Like, do you have any goals like that?
Of course, like everyone gets into the business with like goals of making it to WWE. Um, or at least somewhere big like WWE, New Japan. Now there's so many options.
Yeah.
Like ROH. I mean ROH has always been around.
Right.
Um, so not to like bury them or anything, but most guys will get in the business like WWE or New Japan, whatever. But now you have ROH, Impact, uh, AEW, WWE, New Japan. Like there's so many more options
Right.
now. But there's also a lot of guys who are making a living off wrestling and they're not on contracts. They're not in one of those major companies.
Right.
Um, and so that's become my goal, is just to make a viable living off wrestling. Not living, like shit
Right.
with no money in my pocket from
R-
show to show.
right.
I mean, if that happened, like I would make ends meet somehow. But
Right.
yeah, my goal is just to make a living off wrestling.
Did you work ROH once? I know you went down to a show. Did you like help out or?
They did a show in Mount Pleasant at the casino. Yeah, Soaring Eagle.
Mhm.
And we did like ring crew, and we sat ringside and like grabbed like jackets and stuff and
Okay.
streamers and whatnot.
Right. So was that a cool experience, or did you feel
It
like a
was
a mark?
um a little of both. It was still
Okay.
cool. I was almost a boy, one of Dalton Castle's boys,
Oh no shit.
but yeah, so um he was like walking around before the show, and like people were talking to him and whatnot, and someone had vouched for me to be a boy.
Mhm.
And so like he called me over and we talked for a few minutes, and he's like, okay, like let me go see what they say in the back, whatever. And I guess in the back they said no, or like turned down the idea, whatever, for the night. And then of course, as soon as he comes out and gets in the ring, the whole crowd's like, "Where the boys? Where the
Oh
boys?"
no
And I was
shit.
like, "Oh,
All
like I should
right.
have been a boy. Like it would have been fun. It would have been super cool."
Sure. Yeah, I think
But
honestly, I think I could see you in New Japan. Like I don't know what it is. You're I don't know, I just think you'd be able to do that strong style maybe.
maybe.
Maybe?
I mean, I like to slug it out every now and then.
Yeah, maybe it's just your gimmick too. I'm not sure, but I think you'd fit good in New Japan. Make it happen. I want to see you in New
Yeah,
Japan. Yeah.
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 New Japan, hit me up.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on, you got some people in the business. Why aren't you working like ROH or, AEW or Impact even?
Yeah, let me make a phone call, and then I'll be on Raw tonight. Actually, I gotta go. Sorry.
There's no audience, man. You don't want to go be a part of that right now. Yeah. All right, so let's change it up a little bit. I know you like music. What genre is your favorite music?
I would say like alternative, pop punk, anything in there.
Okay, alternative. Are we talking like alternate? Because I know alternative meant a different thing when I was a kid, as opposed to like if you turn on an alternative station now, it's like shit I don't even understand. But like when I was a kid, alternative was like grunge, I guess. So, like, what is alternative to you? Like the Cranberries?
I don't even know who the
Oh
Cranberries are.
shit, dude! Shut up! You're fucking with me.
No, dude, I don't.
What?
Maybe I'm
Oh no,
like
you'd know the song
maybe
if you heard it.
I would probably. I don't know. Like I say alternative to like try to help give an idea. Like, cause if I just say like pop punk, I don't
Right,
know if people like get it right away. I'm sure like you have a better idea of music than most people.
right.
Um, so like I guess, but like there's also like 72 million different subgenres
Oh
nowadays.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I don't fucking know what to call half the shit I
Right.
listen to. And I don't want to sound like super hipster and be like, yeah, I listen to all these underground bands that you don't know. But
I
in
still do
fact, I
that.
do.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I still do that. I don't give a shit. It's
yeah.
like they're like, what do you listen to? Oh, post, pre, hardcore, grunge, punk, metal. Like you said, there's
Y-
so many fucking stupid genres.
Yeah.
Like pop punk. So are there still like pop punk bands out? Like new pop punk bands? Are they still coming out?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like a lot of bands like switch up their styles and shit too a lot
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
So like Boston Manor is a good example. Like their first album was super pop punky,
Mm-hmm.
and then their like next album was a little more like heavy grunge kind of, and then like they just dropped a new album like 2 or 3 days ago, and it sounds nothing really like the first album,
Right.
and like sort of like the second album, but still a lot different. Um, so I wouldn't even like I haven't listened to it enough to just really like categorize it,
Right.
but I just like music, man. And there's a lot of it, so
Yeah.
it's
There
cool.
there is a lot. You it looks like you go to a lot of shows too. Are those like pop punk shows, or is it like any show you can go to, you go check it out type thing?
Not any show. As long as it's like in my music preference,
Right.
then I'll go. I did have a string of shows that I would go to by myself for a while because they were just at the Loving Touch in Ferndale, which is a cool little venue. And so yeah, I would just go by myself and check out new music. Like I would know like one band on the card,
Right.
and then check out some new music, have some beers, and hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I miss about like the old shows that I used to go to. You'd know one band and they'd have like an opener you didn't really know and like a co-headliner that maybe had one good song, but you'd go check them out and then like they'd become one of your favorite bands because they put on like such an amazing show or whatever. And that's something you don't really get nowadays because it's got to be five headliners on the same show type thing.
Right.
So
You
it's
mean like professional wrestling?
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Isn't it crazy how music and professional wrestling can intertwine?
Oh, dude, I talked to so many guys from bands, and like they're all like, "Holy shit, you do the same thing we do all the time, all the time."
Right? Yeah,
It's
it's performing, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hustle, performing, trying to get your name out there,
Yep.
and just sell merch, make some money, and have a good time doing it.
Exactly. I got a short story here about a band. Coming up, it was a pop punk band. It was just before Sum 41 broke it big in the states. There was a band in Canada called Gob, and Theo and Tom's the lead singer, lead guitarist. Theo's the rhythm guitarist, but Tom's actually he plays guitar now for Sum 41. But getting back on track, Gob played a show because I would every time Gob was in Michigan, I would drive to Detroit or Grand Rapids or wherever they were to go see them.
Hell yeah.
They were playing I think it was the Intersection. We drove down there. They'd always have us on their tour bus or whatever. We'd go have dinner before the show.
Nice.
There was legit maybe six people at this show, and they were the headliner. And it was sad in a way, but like they didn't give a shit. Like they still gave 150% and put on an amazing show for the six people that were there.
Hell yeah.
And like that's how you make fans and that's how you keep fans. Like and same thing with wrestling, man. You go out there, it doesn't matter if there's three people out there. You want to make those three people fucking pop for what you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, man, I mean, I've wrestled in front of, 10 people, and I've wrestled in front of like 1,000 people, like, and you just go out there and do the best you can, because then you'd hope that if there is 10 people, they tell their 10 friends,
Yep.
like, hey, I went to this show and there's no one fucking there and it sucked, but like that guy was cool as shit,
Exactly.
you know?
Right. Word of mouth. And the next show, 15 people show up or whatever and then,
Right, exactly.
yeah. It's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite band?
Okay. So, favorite band like always changes. I'm sure it always
Yeah.
changes with you too.
Yep.
Um, U2 is not my favorite band, by the way. Right now, I'd probably say Have Mercy,
Okay.
Boston Manor, Dance Gavin Dance.
Oh man, no.
What?
No, dude. I dated this girl that loved Dance Gavin Dance, so I can't even fucking listen to him anymore.
Oh no, I love Dance Gavin
I
Dance.
just
They're
couldn't.
so
I
fun. They're
couldn't
so
get.
good. Ah, um, who else is usually in my top? Let's see what I say. Have Mercy, Boston Manor, and
Dance
Dance
Gavin
Gavin
Dance.
Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those are like those are up in my top five for sure.
Okay. Do you find yourself like maybe sticking to a certain like three songs? I know that like if I'm listening to something like right now, I absolutely hated the new "A Day to Remember" song like when it came out last week, but like I've listened to it probably like 100 times since then, so it's kind of grown on me. Do you find yourself like listening to songs over and over again?
If like a band drops a single, yeah.
Okay.
Um, Have Mercy's last album before they split up was like that. They dropped a few singles, and I was like, this is really different. Like, I don't know if I like it. And then
Right.
I listened to them enough, and now I love it, like, to pieces.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I feel you for sure.
Yeah. That's how the Day to Remember like collaboration they did with Marshmello. Like I totally don't fucking get that whole Marshmello shit.
That sounds terrible.
I thought, dude, and it kind of is, but I kind of like it. Like it's got like a funky feel, but it's still got the A Day to Remember, breakdown and vocals, so it's kind of grown on me. But I don't really understand a lot of this new music, like the Marshmello. Have you checked out that Post Malone Nirvana? I don't know if you're a Nirvana fan or not, but he did a cover show.
He, the like hour-long
Yeah.
YouTube thing he did, I watched a little bit of it. I liked it. He's got a good grunge voice.
Okay. See, I still haven't watched it. I'm doing that whole hipster thing. Like I love Nirvana. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna fucking listen, but I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it at some
No,
point.
it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Like compared to Puddle of Mud's cover
Oh
of
God,
oh my
no!
God, it was so
Fucking
bad.
dude.
It's so fucking bad. Holy shit.
He was trying so hard too.
I know. That's why I felt bad. I'm like, man, like I like used to fuck with Puddle of Mud,
Right?
Like Blurry was the fucking 90s wrestling fucking highlight video song.
Right? Oh yeah, that was
But oh yeah.
so bad.
But I haven't listened to A Day to Remember since like What Separates You from Me.
Oh really?
I used to love A Day to Remember, and then I saw them in concert like 5 times over the course of 2 years because they were touring super heavy,
Right.
and I just like got burnt out on them. And then like What Separates You from Me came out, and like it was okay,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like in love with it like I was homesick.
Yeah. Right.
And so then I just kind of fell off from there.
We were probably at the same shows then, because I know I seen them. Oh God, I don't remember what year it was. It was right after, just before Homesick. I don't know. It was the same year they played Warp Tour. I know
Okay.
they were touring pretty heavy, and I know I seen them like 3 times, but uh, I kind of got turned off to them just because Jeremy was like a dick to the fans.
Yeah, I heard he was a real piece of shit too,
Yeah,
so.
so like, it was like fuck him. I'm not gonna listen to him no more. But then as they were actually my first entrance music when I my first time I got to do an entrance as a commentator for NWAAE in Grayling. Yeah,
Okay.
I used a shot in the dark for my entrance. Yeah,
Nice.
so that was maybe it's just like a thing where I feel like I need to keep listening to them. But I totally
I
feel
feel
you
you.
though. They've kind of changed their sound a little bit. So what do you want to do next in wrestling? Just because you've kind of branched out a little bit, like you said, you're going all over a little bit. Um, just kind of trying to wrap this up. What do you see happening in the next year for Jacob Braun?
Well, if
If we're allowed to do anything,
coronavirus
yeah,
doesn't get
right,
us all,
yeah,
shit.
not leaving that
No,
fucking chair probably.
so in the year from when wrestling starts back
There
up,
you go, perfect.
um, I just want to get out there more and go to new places and wrestle new people and just showcase what I've got to a wider audience.
Right, okay. And that I kind of want to touch on that. You kind of brought it back to my attention. What is your favorite match? Is it that match with Ben Brody? And I
That
know I'm putting you in a spot right now. I'm not trying to get you no fucking heat or nothing, but
No, 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 no. So, okay, so I would say that match is my favorite storytelling match.
okay,
Out of all of my matches, I would say that one's my favorite storytelling because of the buildup we had to where I turned on Ben and I took the title off him 2 weeks after he won it. And then we wrestled a few times, and then we had that distance apart, and then we came back for those 3 matches,
yeah,
and each match was better and better, and then it finally ended with him winning the title and people crying and hugging because they were so fucking excited
right,
that my 500 plus day reign had ended.
Mr. 500.
That's right, 526 days for that first reign, and then I won that bitch back.
Right.
But so that match, I would say, like culmination of a story wise, was my favorite. Um, my favorite wrestling match that I had, just based off of it just being a wrestling match, Mitch Johnson and I did a 30-minute Broadway in Missouri, and it was a legit 30 minutes, and we called stuff in the back,
Hmm.
but we didn't like so we had talked about like A through Z potentially. We'll
Right.
say we talked about A through Z, but when we were in the ring, it was like, hey, like let's go A and then D and then B and then X and then
Right.
so we jumped over. So we had these things that we had like talked about, but we just kind of worked in the ring and we were like, hey, like this feels right. Let's do this.
Right.
Like, and a lot of it also was on the fly. So like even stuff in the ring that like he was calling or I was calling, we didn't talk about in the back and we just like worked. And then it was like it kind of proved to me like, hey, maybe like I'm not that bad at this. Like
Right.
maybe my shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
I mean, others might disagree, but at that time I was like, yeah, fuck you. But
Right.
and then probably one of the most fun matches I've had, just like for fuck it reasons, was with John Campbell for MWO. We wrestled at a strip club in Battle Creek, and of course, before the show, I'm the champ in this show, like for the company at the time. And before the show, I'm like, guys, just because you can curse doesn't mean you have to. Like, keep it clean, make it worthwhile, if you're gonna swear, blah blah blah. Like
Right.
trying to be this like mature professional. I come out
Oh no.
and Rick Cartier's fiance was like, Jacob Braun sucks ass, or like Jacob Braun's a piece of shit. And I look and I instantly go, why don't you suck my dick, you dumb bitch?
Oh
And
no.
and the fucking promoter, Jason Klaus, God, I fucking love that man. He's just like, son of a
Oh
bitch,
no.
like, and puts this because he was doing commentary, and I think he was just hanging out like in one of the booths, whatever.
Right.
But so he just like digs his head into his hands, and he's like, God damn it, because yeah, I was like, yeah, be mature, and then I just let it rip
Oh
right
no.
off the entrance. I end up like wrestling with my ass out half the match.
Oh
I just
Jesus.
like I moon the crowd. I put John in a chin lock so they're staring at my ass the whole time. And then I wrestle like John hits the comeback on me and my ass is still hanging out the whole time. And then he finally like wedgies me and shit. But like that match was just stupid fun because yeah, we just fucked around and I got to cuss and show my ass literally.
Yeah, so the whole spectrum you've had
Yeah.
yeah, you've had
Yeah.
favorites in every aspect, I guess. So, do you have any advice for like aspiring like Lil Dre or the Minions or guys who might want to start or are kind of, iffy? What would your advice be?
Um it's not going to be easy. But if it's something you really want to do, then I absolutely suggest sticking to it. Do your research and go to a credible school. There are plenty throughout the Midwest and even throughout the United States if you want to go to a different state to
Right.
train. Um, but you have to have a solid gut and just learn to take criticism. People, they're gonna, if they really care about you, they're gonna not bash you or like talk down to you,
Right.
but it may seem that way. But they're just looking out for you and everyone else at the same time.
Definitely. Very well put. And
Thanks.
the wrestling business is full of people who will, say good things to your face and stab you in the back. So you definitely want to know who you're working with.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I mean that's anything in life, not just wrestling. I mean,
Hmm.
you gotta be, and it's sad, but you have to be weary of
Oh yeah, absolutely.
who you surround yourself with. So do you have anything in the closing that you'd like to add? Anything maybe I
Um,
didn't touch on?
Follow me on Twitter
There you go.
and
Push yourself over,
Instagram.
brother.
Fucking Instagram.com, Twitter.com/Jacob Braun Pro. All together, no hyphens or underscores, that lame shit. Um, ProWrestlingTees.com/Jacob Braun Pro. I've got 3 shirts up there right now. Check them out. Get them. Find me on Facebook, Jacob Braun as well. And I like to post pictures of my cats and me working out. So if you
Nice.
like that stuff, then yeah, follow me.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely say check out Jacob Braun. Go on YouTube. I know you can find some of his matches on there. Give him a watch. Give him a follow. You said you got Twitter?
Yeah, Jacob Braun Pro on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay. See, I don't have the Twitters, so
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I just have Instagram. YouTube. Do you have your own YouTube channel or no?
Yeah. Um, I think the URL is still Mustache Mikey.
Nice.
Because I made it when I like grew the mustache out and before wrestling stuff, and then they were like, "You don't have enough subscribers to change it."
Oh shit, really?
So yeah, youtube.com/mustache Mikey. I'm gonna test it right now really quick just to make sure. Yep, that's me.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep, that's
So
me.
you can see yep, you can see my matches on there.
Nice. Yeah, so definitely check them out. Grab some of that merch. I know indie guys are hurting right now. Some of them are out of work. Grab some of that Jacob Brawn merch. I'd like to thank Jacob Brawn for being the first guest on the debut episode of the Hit List. It was an honor and a privilege to have you here. Thanks again, brother.
Thanks for having me. I hope I delivered.
Always, brother. Always. Mike Oreson, aka Jacob Brawn, you've been crossed off the Hit List. Keep rocking, guys.